live. So this has been a great learning curve for me, Rob, because we were just behind the scenes here trying to figure this out. This is the first time that I've actually been the one hosting a Be Live. And so I'm not on Facebook. You're actually on this Be Live site, and it's supposed to be doing its thing on Facebook right now. So I guess we'll see. But Rob's had lots of experience with this, so I'm just going to trust the process. So hello, everyone. I'm so excited today to bring you Rob Sperry. You know, it's funny because when we meet people, they're eventually just people. But his introduction, let's just call it, is extensive. And so before we get started, for those of you, I do want to tell you this. Those who know Rob Sperry, he has this really strong cult following, but then you either don't know him or you know him and the people just rave about him. So for those of you who don't know him, Rob he's the author of a book called The Game of Networking, and hence he's the founder of a group called T-Gon Nation that has quite a following. He was voted the #1 trainer in his industry in 2017. He's been on the stage on these panels at GoPro with Eric Worre. I think he was just at Eric Worre's most powerful women's event in Vegas. Was that last week, Rob?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago. So he's like he's just a big advocate for women, especially in network marketing. And as if that all wasn't impressive enough, what I probably love most about Rob is this day and age, I feel like there's just everywhere you look, there's someone that's saying, hey, let me help you triple the size of your team, double the size of your team. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that read more books on stuff, but when you read more books and attain more knowledge, all that makes you feel like you could be better at is be a coach, like tell someone else how to do it. But Rob's a big tennis guy, we were just talking, and reading one more book on tennis isn't going to make you a better tennis player, right? It could make you a coach where you could go. But what I love is the most winningest NCAA coaches or the most winningest NBA coaches of all time are typically people who have been players at one point themselves. It gives you a different understanding of the game. It gives you a different respect for the people that you coach. And that's what I love about Rob. Rob is an amazing network marketer first. He was a 7-figure earner first, a top income earner in his company first, and then hopped over, and then all the accolades I just gave you came afterwards. So that's why I love Rob so much and respect him so much, is that he was a player and now a coach. And also for a Canadian girl, I have a hard time actually talking about this without seemingly insulting, but for Canadians, we love Rob. He has this really underlying, like, no hype, no convenient omissions, just the truth is good enough and the way he delivers things. So I'm excited to bring him to you today. So that was a long introduction, but it was one that was worthy of you. And I know
that's the introduction my mom would have given. So, it's like all just like good, over the top. Now I feel a lot of pressure. That's okay though. We'll have some fun, and I appreciate it.
It's good. So yay, that was a good compliment for me and for your mom. So why don't you just, because like I said the other day when I was on the live with James, each one of these lives really is just to be a teaser. You're coming up to our Shindig event, and I really want people to get a feel for you so that they go, wow, I really want to get the full meal deal with this guy afterwards. So I'd love for you just to share a bit about your background, like really kind of what was the jump from you from being a rep in the field to going the generic training route of things.
To be honest, it was pretty hard. It was really hard. And the reason is because I think at the beginning when I made the jump, people were like, is he really making the jump? Is he going back in the field? Can we really trust our teams with this guy? Because to really get that full-blown trust, for people to put their teams in front of me and companies in front of me, right? They wanted to know, has he really made that commitment? So at the beginning, I felt like, oh, geez, this is rough. It was never the plan. I used to actually make fun of coaches. I said, if you can't build, then coach. You shouldn't do that, because you never know if you end up being that person that you were making fun of. And it was probably just because I felt like most that I knew of. There's several that aren't, but that's how I felt. I felt like, hey, you've never had any success. Why are you trying to teach people and tell them what to do, and that sort of thing? And so as I sold my position with the company that I was with, I wasn't necessarily planning on coaching. I had a lot of companies that said, hey, can you come speak for us? Can you come do a training for our team? Is there any way you could do some consulting? And so it was necessary for me to just make that decision. What am I going to do? Is this going to be the new career path? And it's obviously not for everyone, and each company is different for each person, right? There's so many different styles, strategies, philosophies, connections, But for me, where I was at, I thought, hey, because I actually live in Utah where there's so many companies, I get to meet with corporate executives, maybe I could have more influence. Maybe I could help more people from a different perspective. I was a tennis coach, so I'm always done some sort of coaching. I did that forever. And so it naturally transitioned for me in it. But I do feel like you said, because I went through, I mean, you just all heard the highlight version, but let's give you the crap version. My 5th month in network marketing, I made less than $400 for the month, and I worked 80 hours a week, and I was a complete idiot who quit a 6-figure annual job where I was running a tennis club, which to some of you, that's not a lot of money. To me, that was a ton of money at the time. I was 28 years old. And so when you're used to making $100,000 a year, and then you quit and go full-time in network marketing way, way too soon, like I said, like an idiot, and then you make less than $400, that was during Christmas. You don't know if you should laugh at your check, if you should cry at your check. You don't know if this thing's going to work. So trust me when I say that, yeah, I've had a lot of success. I've had way, way more failures, learning lessons, whatever you want to call them, that have given me a lot of perspective. And I'm always curious, I want to know as I'm doing this Facebook Live or sharing this, I'm always curious who's tuning in, where everyone's tuning in from. So for me, just drop in the comments where you're watching from. And I know we got a lot in Western Canada, but I know we also have people from all over.
Yes, please do. I know that there's a bunch of people asking me about, when this was happening, and that wanted to just make sure that they're available for it. So, and the great thing is, you guys make sure that when you watch it, we want to see who's watching it. So if you're watching this later, please put, hashtag replay in there, and feel free to drop your comments while you're watching it, whenever you are, if this was a value to you. Well, thanks, Rob, for that. One of the things I love is that is the positivity, because I think that, and thank you for sharing the failures, because I think that we kind of live in this world sometimes where people think that success means there's no failure, but it's actually just part of the process, right? You can't have one without the other, because it's the greatest learning curve for us, which brings me to kind of the teaching method. Like you said, I think that everyone has a different teaching style and different things that work, which is why I think that it's important that we bring a different variety of people. You said right there that you felt there was a need, right? Like and that's exactly, I can relate to that, because this Shindig event, that's exactly how I felt about in network marketing. Like I felt like there was a need for, we talk about just kind of, I was saying to somebody the other day, oh yeah, it was Star Wars Day, right? It's like May the 4th be with you is the joke, right? It was a Star Wars Day. And we grew up on those movies. I love those movies. They're so inspiring because it was always about good. But, we always know that the Padawans always get trained by the Jedi Masters. But the challenge sometimes in network marketing is we have Padawans training Padawans, training Padawans, training Padawans, because it all, and every once in a while you just kind of got to throw a Jedi Master in there to just kind of, and different people relate to different Jedi Masters than others. But I actually think in this game of networking that you are one of those, which is why I'm excited. And just for people to get a different taste of different leadership styles, different teaching styles is important, because everyone on our teams might resonate differently than someone else. With your book called The Game of Networking, why? Because I love how that is, because but I'd like to get your take on it. Why that title? Why call it The Game of Networking?
I'm hugely competitive. I'm the guy that if I lose in a board game, I act like I'm not mad, but then I'll go spend 3 hours and I'll literally take notes and put them in my phone on best strategies to win. I'm the guy that I don't understand why, but if I lose in Candyland, even though it's all success, like I'm bothered. And so for me, I just look at it as games are just fun to me. Win or lose, obviously winning's more fun, but I just like competing. And I don't look at it as always a competition against someone else. I just look at it as fun. And so for me, I grew up naturally as an introvert. I'm an ambitious introvert. I don't feel like I'm shy at all anymore. It's more of I'm just more chill. I'm more reserved. And so the way that I won was actually networking. The way I won was by associating myself with others. And I just became a professional at making friends with people. And so that's where I started the book. And the premise was I didn't know any book that gave the laws for networking. They all gave, there's so many great books on networking, but they gave ideas. There was never like a system of do this, then do this, then do this, do this. So first I wrote it, and then after I had all these crappy titles. Like I look back at them and they were so bad. And I don't know, I just looked at it and I thought that just fits my style, my personality, and what I'm trying to teach. Just make it fun. I mean, that's what life is, the game of life, right? I understand part of the game is things get real, but in a positive light of making everything fun. And I always try to turn everything into a game with my kids. I try to turn everything into a game even when I have hard times. As much as I can. That's just, I'm a big believer in gamification, because I think then it makes it where it's just fun and narrows our focus. So that's a little bit of the backstory of the process that I went through. And it's annoying trying to figure out titles. I'm trying to figure out my next book's like pretty much done. But when I say pretty much done, that means it's a long ways away for title and all that stuff. And I'm trying to come up with a title. So frustrating, so hard. So,
but it's got to be good, right? You know, it's so funny that I'm so glad I asked you that, because my interpretation of that, the game of networking, it's interesting how you said it, because you're the author. But I love the title of that just for like a little bit of a different reason, because I just think that there's structure to it, right? A game isn't a game, like a sport isn't a sport without like rules, right? Like tennis, there's a beauty in having the points, knowing when the game ends, knowing when the match ends, knowing what you're like accomplishing. Because, and so many people I feel in networking, which is why like I wanted to bring this skill set, is if you don't know the rules of the game, especially if you're playing against someone, like have you ever tried to play the game Risk with someone who really knows how to play? Like you're just getting eaten alive because you don't really know. And so like anything, there's rules of how to play. And if you don't know the rules, then it can be very frustrating. But once you do know the rules and you can get the skill sets necessary, then all of a sudden it can be a game and you're not just getting butchered by this. And so it's funny because that's what I loved about it being called the game of networking, is there is actually rules to this game. And that should excite the heck out of you, because it means if you can learn the rules of the game, that there's actually a shot at winning, you know, or a better shot at winning. And so it's funny because I knew you were competitive, but as you get older, you usually, now I'm competitive when I'm playing, but I'm not the girl who's going to go Google things 3 hours afterwards.
Don't tell me. But let's keep it between us girls.
Well, now it's between everyone. They're all going to share this. So, hey, with our few minutes left, I just want to get your take on you know, training and personal development. Like how much of your life, because I know because like half the books you were talking about, I'm like the same thing. In my early 20s when I was 16, you read How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like I don't know what draws that, but like this idea of personal development and continuing education and training, give me your 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I mean, you think how much you pay to whether you went to school or not. And you think the education that you try to get for anything that you're learning, a new skill. Well, this is life. And the reason why it's life is because it's creating time freedom for you, whether that's, you know, saving up an extra $400 every month to go on that family vacation, or to do humanitarian trips, or to do whatever. Time is the most precious thing we have on this earth. And so I look at that, one, this will help achieve that. Number 2 is the definition of happiness is progress. When we're progressing, we're happy. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you're not progressing, you're not happy. Go talk to, you know, people that we've seen that, you know, we've even seen different, you know, unfortunately, right, suicides from those that have made tons of money. Now, again, I understand sometimes there's mental issues. I get that. I want to be very sensitive. But a lot of times it's just lack of progression. There's a reason why most billionaires don't retire. It's because when we're progressing, we're happy. And so I look at it, and it's a way to constantly be happy as you're progressing as a human being, as you're progressing to help other people, as you're progressing with those talents that you were given, right? I don't think anyone was put on this earth to be average. I think we all have talents to use. And when we're using those, we're so happy. So for me, that's what I love, and that's why I'm so big on it. And the other thing is I don't know anyone that comes to well-done events like these that walks away and says, "Oh, I can't believe I went. every single time, it's, I wish I would have had more people here. I wish I would have had so-and-so if I would have only known. And I always think, what do you mean? I told you, I told you, I told you. And it's like, they just don't believe it. But you can't do it justice. It's like describing your favorite vacation spot. Think of it. You know, one of my favorite vacation spots is Hawaii. I can't just say, oh, you should see the color of the ocean and the sand is amazing and the views are amazing, right? Amazing can only go so far as a word. You just got to be there. There's a reason why you can listen to music on the radio or on your iPod or on your phone, right? Wherever, but you go to a concert and it's just a different experience, and people want those experiences. And that's why I look at the personal development and then I look at the event, and more people are craving and wanting experiences, because social media is a world where we're more connected than ever in many aspects, but in other aspects we're more disconnected than ever because we're sitting next to our loved ones and we're just like this, just on our phones. And so we're craving that connection. We're craving those experiences. And that's why I love events. I just love events. And when you add on personal development, it's going to be fun. We'll make you laugh. You may cry. You're going to feel connection. You can have those huge breakthroughs, right? Every single leader I know can point to some event that changed everything for them. I don't know leaders that took off, right, and really truly were connected without an event. I'm sure they're out there. I just don't know any.
Well, I totally agree. And one of the things that you said that we have in the little promotional video, so if you guys have seen the little sales video that's gone around for 2 minutes about it, was just that the power of proximity. And yeah, like the, you know, multi-million-dollar earners in the room. And if you could ever have a chance to kind of pick their brain, this is it, right? This is it. And what I love most of all is my vision of this event and bringing people together was to really have this event be like specific to our field. Because I do know that people go to, you know, the Oprah Winfrey's, Tony Robbins is going to be in town, and that's all fantastic. I'm not saying it has to be or, you know, like, but to have this be like, you know, you can go listen to a coach, a general coach, but if you're a tennis player, like I need tennis coaching, right? Like it's not just a general athleticism. And so this is actually just coaching and being around like-minded people and the champions in this industry in what you're doing is really important. And I just know that you are one who can absolutely deliver. I'm so excited for them to hear what you have to bring to the table. What I love about you is that you are the person who brings really specifics, really tangible, real, raw, genuine skills that are necessary to win because you've been there in the trenches. And I just know that you're one of the industry's best. It's not just my opinion, right? It's a whole bunch of other people were asked. And so, and I want to end it on this. I talked yesterday with James about wanting to bring really good humans. Aside from all of the things that I gave you accolades on in the beginning, one of the things that you'll notice most about Rob now, if you go check him out or you go check his page, or you by all means go to check out the Game of Networking, and is that he is a full-blown family man and unapologetically in love with his family and his children and his wife. And he brings them, when he talks about time freedom, he brings them all around the world. And in a world today of all times where we feel like we need to be inspired, I hope this event inspires people. And I hope that the people that are on the stage, they inspire you, that there is really a really goodness in life. And Rob kind of reeks of that. So I appreciate you so much. We're going to end it there to keep these lives short. I hope that was a good enough teaser for you all. And Rob, I can't wait to see you at the Shindig. For all of you, I'll post above here, but it's theshindig.ca/tickets. But just go to the event. The site is all there. You can follow us on the Shindig, at the Shindig on Instagram. And by all means, share away. Let's show people the power of networking is just this, organically sharing what this could be. But until next time, we'll see you. Thanks for your time, Rob.
Hey, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you for tuning in.